Okay, so good afternoon again, everybody. I assume during the first couple of minutes, some other people will join us. But anyway, we are on target of our timing, so let's kick off. Just let me start with a couple of house rules. I'm going to keep you unmuted during the entire webinar due to the recording option that I have enabled. Otherwise, it's because of the background noise as well. That's we choose to mute you all. I would like to suggest if you have any questions, please put them in the question box and I will answer them at the end of this webinar. What am I going to talk about today? About the new couple of things that we have added in our product, well, I'm guessing we should kick off just to make sure that we don't lose any time. So, just to present myself for a bit, a couple of you already know me. My name is Nico. I'm the channel and distribution account manager for Nomadesk, and I'm going to get you through this presentation today. So, Nomadesk is a cloud product regarding secure file sharing and synchronization, and specifically designed for business professionals. So, if anyone might ask you about our backup functionalities, well, you can say they are included in the product, but it's not a backup solution. Always look back to the basis of Nomadesk, and that is the secure file sharing and synchronization part. 12 years ago, let's say more than 12 years ago, that was already the case when the three founders of Nomadesk had the idea of starting a product that offered the ability to access and to edit their professional data as mobile as possible and as flexible as possible. And it was all about the secure file sharing and synchronization. Now below this slide you see, let's say, a reference that we have. It's one of our biggest references. They work with, it's McKinsey & Company, and they work with over 15,000 users with our technology. Now something very, very important for you to understand is the fact that we have an exclusive indirect sales strategy through partners. So we have a 100% focus on sales through partners. And we support them, myself and the rest of the team, we support our partners wherever we can. And obviously, we focus on professional users in small, medium-sized, and enterprise departments or enterprises in plural, just to make sure that everybody has a chance to work as mobile as possible and as flexible as possible. Now, just to keep Nomadesk on the map, or to show you a map where we are distributed. So we are all over the world, and a couple of our distributors allow us to. A lot of them make sure that we have a nice business in the Benelux. Let's say others have us in a more larger region, and a couple of partners sell us all over the world. So we have a good partnership with all our partners, and we'd like to keep it that way. Through distribution or in a direct model. Now, how does Nomadesk work exactly? Just to give you a very quick, a lot of you already know how it works, but some others are new in this webinar, so I'm just going to go over the pointers one by one very quickly before I sum up the new functionalities in Nomadesk. So, how does Nomadesk work? Nomadesk allows users to create virtual drives on their computer using the locally installed client or software, and those virtual drives, we are going to call them vaults from now on, and those virtual drives on the local computer are mounted as encrypted hard drives. So, as you might imagine, Nomadesk makes sure that the data that is on your local computer that is secured as highly as possible. Now, that's one of the main pillars where Nomadesk is built on, that's the security. But there's another one who is at least as important as the first one, and that is the user-friendliness. It has to be a product that is, let's say, user-friendly, that is intuitive, and users don't need to change their workflow or the way they used to work in order to work with a new technology such as Nomadesk. So, One of those things that makes it very easy to use is a drag and drop functionality, and that's basically the way to start off or to set up an end customer with Nomadesk. That is by dragging and dropping files into a vault, and in the background Nomadesk does the initial synchronization, who takes the time it needs, and afterwards we work with a Delta block level sync, which makes it a lot more faster than before in the initial sync. Now, the key features of Nomadesk, there are just a couple of them, so I'm going to go over them again as well. So, when you place a file in a Nomadesk vault, it is automatically encrypted and cached on the local machine. So users have the ability to take along data with them on their local machine, and we have added, therefore, extra security measures, and that is the encryption on the local machine, the track and trace device and remote wipe through TheftGuard, and two-factor authentication, which I will explain a bit further in this presentation. Second, when you place a file in a Nomadesk vault, it is automatically backed up and stored to the secure data center, which is located in Frankfurt, by the way. So we are a fully European-based company, as a company being and with our data center, which means that we are fully subject to the European law and in the near future the GDPR regulations. Now, in this item, there are two things that I need to add. In the user license, there are two backup functionalities included, which are the revisions or the versioning. So during the day, you can go back in time three versions, and at the end of the day, the last version will be kept as well for another 14 days. So it means 2 weeks. And the second backup functionality is the online trash can, which allows users to restore files after they have been deleted within a period of 30 days. Now, when you place a file in a Nomadesk vault, it is also automatically synchronized. So with one user license, you can access your Nomadesk data through any of your own personal devices. That doesn't matter whether it is a laptop, a desktop, a Mac, a Windows PC, or a mobile device. You can use your personal or your user license for that. We synchronize on the local computers using our sync technology, our locally installed client, and we are going to sync on a Delta block level, which means that only the modified parts of a file will be synchronized, and the rest will stay where it is. And as an addition to that, and I will explain that a bit further in the presentation as well, that is our server client. So you have the ability to install Nomadesk on a server and make sure that you can have a hybrid environment. But again, I will explain that later in this presentation. So, another one is the mobilization. So you have the ability on Nomadesk to use mobile devices, and well, as you can see, we support, or we have applications on the 4 well-known platforms. Through a mobile device, you have the ability to access your data, to share your data, create vaults, take pictures, use TheftGuard in there. There's a whole bunch of possibilities that you have on mobile devices as well. The sharing part, when you place a file in a Nomadesk vault, it is automatically able to be shared, or you can create an invitation towards another Nomadesk user, so somebody with a license, or another way is by creating links, and you can send those to non-Nomadesk users. So there are two ways of sharing your files. Please make sure that you are well aware of the differences between the two of them when you explain Nomadesk to your customers. And then Office 365 connection, that's something that I will explain later. So what's new? As of today, we are putting it out there, version 7.08. And what has changed? Well, one of them, for example, is the My Nomadesk interface. We have done a little bit of, let's say, renovation works just to make sure that that Nomadesk is more convenient to work with. So it's more evolved, it's updated, it's more slick, and the interface is more recognizable and convenient to use. So when you are a new user, you can add your email in there. Next step, when you work through distribution or through the partner portal, this is something that doesn't have to be done. But this is just a way of showing what it looks like now. So a user can create a trial license, for example, and they get to these browser windows, let's say. They can create their own account, fill out their details, and they will be onboarded and created very easily. And the next step is actually just creating a vault, and they're off on their mobile, on their web interface. So the only thing that needs to be done, as you can see, is adding files in there. So there is a file uploader window that shows what the status is of different files, and when all is uploaded, you will see something happening there with all the green pointers. Here we are. Okay, so something else is the, and that's added to my Nomadesk as well, that's the file link and folder link creation, and you can paste it wherever you are or wherever you want to. So this is something that has been asked for by our resellers in the past year, so we have worked hard not only on the maintenance and the synchronization quality, but obviously at some point we wanted to add some new features in there as well that have been asked by our resellers. So this is definitely one of them. So what's going to happen? I'm exactly in the same environment as the previous topic. So I've chosen, using my right click on the mouse on the little gear icon on the right hand side of the browser, I have chosen to create a folder link, and a folder link using the folder test Nomadesk. As you can see, there are all the other, let's say, properties that you can choose or determine when creating a link. Nothing has changed there, so this is exactly the same as before that you are used to. And there has been a button added, and that is the copy to clipboard button. It's actually the get link functionality that you have on your local device is now added to the My Nomadesk as well, which is very convenient, obviously, because well, these days users make the choice more and more, make the choice of what they take along with them on their local machine, and there are a lot of things that they can just leave on the web interface available for wherever they want or whenever they want to. They just need to access My Nomadesk and then access the data that is on there. And from now on, they don't need to synchronize files anymore in order to create a link and send it to wherever they want. So from now on, it's possible to do so through My Nomadesk. So you just hit copy to clipboard, you get the link available, you copy it, and then you put it wherever you want. So let's say you can put it in Skype or an email, or make a Word document or a PDF file more interactive. Wherever you can paste text, you can paste this link, as you can see here. Okay, so this isn't a major update, so there are a couple of things that I can show you. Some other things have been done in the underlying level, let's say at the framework level. So it's not only the things in My Nomadesk that I have shown you right now, but it's the underlying framework as well that we have worked on to make it more convenient and let's say easier to make modifications or do faster bug fixes, etc., etc. So under the hood, we have done a lot of work. So that's that. And then the re-engineering of the file link and folder link in My Nomadesk, so it offers more possibilities. And we did a major update of the framework as well of the OS X client. Now, just to give you, I want to give you an overview of the things previous or prior to version 7.08, because we learn from our partners that often they aren't aware of the extended possibilities of Nomadesk or new things that have been added. So that's why I want to give you an overview. So 7.04 also interface improvements, support for several operating systems. We have done a lot of work on the APS connector with Odin for some of our distributing provisioning portals, and the sync performance has been something that we have worked on as well. Now, what has been added as a feature is the two-factor authentication. So how does it work? We are here in the My Nomadesk environment of a group manager, and we have gone to the Manage site, so the Manage tab over here, and then choose Group Settings Security. You will see that there has been added the password policies, and below the password policies you have the option two-factor authentication with Google Authenticator. So the group manager kicks off and he chooses when his users need to access using Google Authenticator only when they add a new device, or a second option in there is when they log on. Every time when they log on, they need to use that extra layer of security. So how is it done? When choosing this option, you get an email. You need to click on this link and then set up your account with Google Authenticator. So basically, as you can see here, you need to fill out your logon, so your email address, add your own password, obviously, the password that you already have created yourself, connected with the account, and then next step is the Google Authentication code. What do you need to do? Just install the application on your smartphone, Google Authenticator that is, choose the option Scan Barcode over here, you scan the QR code, and there is a 6-digit code that has been generated, which you need to fill out in this cell of Google Authentication code. And then finish configuration, and it's done. So that way, every time that you choose to use Nomadesk, the cell of, or the item of the Google Authentication code will be added, and you will need to create or generate a 6-digit code, a new six-digit code to add to it, and it gives you extra security in logging terms. What has been added, and I have given you a little hint before, that's the Windows Server Client, or let's say folder sync, as we like to call it as well. So how does it look like? This is the way you can install the software, as you know, from the local devices, so from the computer and other devices. You take the same software. There are registry settings that need to be changed. You can find an article on our Service Center website. That way you know step by step what needs to be changed. It's just a couple of minor settings. And when that is done and Nomadesk is installed on the Windows server, you have the option, as you can see, you click, you right click on a folder, you have the option sync this folder to Nomadesk, and then the following screen appears. So basically you have two options. One is from this folder create a new vault, or second option, sync this folder to an existing vault. So that way you have a choice of, let's say, your initial setup that you want to do with your client. You install it on the server and you choose from any, let's say, main folder that you have on that server. You say, I want to create a new vault. And then you have the same structure in Nomadesk as you had in previous situations on the server. When the synchronization is done, you can eliminate the server and everybody can get connected to the vaults, and everybody has a recognizability of the names that were there before on the server, and it gives you a possibility of working with the new technology, and it looks like working on a server. Now, sync to an existing vault, it's just a choice. If you have in your account already existing vaults, then you can choose this option, and the information of that folder will be added to the existing vault. Very easy, very fast, and very convenient. Now, just to give you an idea why we chose to do this is the fact that in larger environments, it's often the case that they don't want to eliminate the Windows server in their environment, but the internal people still need to be able to work on that traditional way, that traditional connection to the server. Let's say it's a traditional server client setup. And the internal people still need to be able to work with it as from before. But on top of it, the external people, the mobile workers, let's say, the mobile workforce, needs to be able to work with Nomadesk. So that's why now there's the possibility with this option to create a hybrid environment where local people or internal people just work on the traditional client-server setup, and the external people sync their data from their local machine to the server, and that way everybody works on the most recent files. Something else that has been added is some, let's say, aesthetic works with the sync status file overlays on Mac, and we have done that on a PC as well, obviously. Drag and drop functionalities have been extended, so from now on or during one of the past versions, you have the ability to, and that is in My Nomadesk, or when you receive a folder link, you can grab files from your desktop or wherever they are on your local machine and drag and drop them in the browser, and you do an upload. As you can see over here, you get that upload pane or that progression bar that you can see here. And it's just being uploaded, and when you have synchronization in place towards your local machine, a couple of minutes later, if you wait for the default timing, a couple of minutes later, all the data is being synchronized towards your local machine. So it's very handy, very intuitive. That's what we strive. User friendliness top. There we are. Up, and it's done. So something very cool. Let's say it's a very nice to have feature, something that other products on the market don't offer yet, in my opinion. And that's the personalized file link, folder link, and web interface. As you can see here, this is a view on a My Nomadesk of Group Manager. So again, in the Manage tab over here, you choose Group Settings and then go for Theming or Styling, could be as well. And you have the ability to change the look and feel of the colors of the web interface, and you can add another logo. So I have done that for somebody else already. So to give you a nice example. So this is what it could look like when it's tuned, let's say, when it's themed. So I've changed the color of the bar, the header bar here. I have changed the logo, and when I have selected some buttons or something, so when I hover over these buttons, for example, they will turn blue as well. And the links, as you can see here, the links are being set in the color green. Now, just to give you a practical example, this is the web interface of that same user. So I'm going to browse to a specific file. As you can see, it is very nice. The same blue color always follows me around. And now I want to send a file link to somebody else. But it's not only the web interface that gets these, styling. It's also the emails that are being sent from Nomadesk towards receivers or recipients. That's better. And even when they click the folder link or file link, they will as well see this changed web interface. So it's all about the look and feel of your customer's corporate identity that follows them around even when they start using Nomadesk. So just to give you this example as well, I'm going to send a file link. So as you can see, this is just the file link option. And this is a Mac mail that has been received by one of the recipients that this email has been sent to. So you can see that the blue and the green and the new logo follows them around. To give you an example, what the folder link could do for somebody that's somebody else or a designer, let's say Eric, works on a campaign with a lot of heavy stuff in there, but luckily he needs to have the ability to send a lot of those files to the printing company who is going to print his campaign, but it's way too much to email. What's Eric about to do then? Luckily he works with Nomadesk, so everything has been synchronized towards the cloud, and it's obviously exactly the same contents of the folder that he works on his local machine. He creates a folder link, preferably completely branded, and he sends it to the printing company, and they only need to click the link and they have the ability to access those data that is shared by them, and they grab what they need without the need of a license. Something else, sync status file overlays for Windows. That's from before the Mac, so that's why it's already in here right now. So as you can see, even on a let's say a navigation level, you can see the icons appear, and obviously on the files as well. So when I change the folder, the name of this folder, you can see that immediately the sync status icon changes to looking for changes or waiting for sync, and then synchronization will take place, and he will return to the green little arrow icon. Very convenient. Now, something else, Office 365 integration. What's the timing? All right, Office 365 integration, very cool. You see the same web interface as before. I am now in the Files tab, or the Files section. I have chosen a Word file, and as you can see, immediately from this view, already in Nomadesk, in my Nomadesk, Word Online is being used to give you a preview of the file that you are at this point visiting. And immediately from the preview of Nomadesk, you have some features available. For example, the find feature, you just add, let's say, some kind of keyword, and then, well, the feature looks into the document if this is exactly the right contents that you want to work on, or the right file that you are looking for. Comes in very handy when you are when you have a lot of files not synced towards your local machine. You can always go to the My Nomadesk environment, look for the file, and use the features that are in there with Office 365. Another example is when you choose a file, right-click on the file, you have this drop-down menu, and there is already from there available Edit with Office Online. What happens next is you will be transferred to the web interface of, let's say, Word Online, and you can work in an edge-to-edge Office Online user interface where you can do a lot of things, a lot of features are available in there as if you were working on your local machine. And the cool part is that you can simultaneously work together with your colleagues. This is a very strong feature in the connection with Office 365 that we offer these days. That's a fact. As you can see over here, we are working together with two people in this file. And the cool thing is that even if the other one is doing modifications to the file, you immediately see them appearing on your screen. So that way everybody knows what the other guys are doing in the file. And it's not only for Word, it's for the other applications as well. So very cool, very strong, very underestimated or underrated feature in my opinion. So what have we changed? Microsoft Azure Active Directory integration, personalized file link, folder link, and web interface as explained. Microsoft Office 365 online view and editing. But on top of that, it's not only the online view and editing, it's with the iOS devices as well. So from your tablet, so your iPad or your iPhone, you can do modifications to files or edit files whenever you want to, wherever you are, because it's a mobile device. And synchronization will be done automatically to Nomadesk again, so your colleagues always get your updated versions as well. And on top of that, the sync status icon overlays have been done as well. Maintenance tasks in terms of the iOS and Android environments. So back in that update, we have added move and copy possibilities. In the web interface, email address autocomplete has been added too, so it makes it more convenient to add email addresses. And then what we do every time when we do an update, we improve our synchronization engine. So before, we had password policies as explained. So in the past, or because of we offer a possibility of connecting Active Directory with Nomadesk, that's good, and that is something in terms of authentication very important for some of the companies that we have as a client. But some other companies don't have Active Directory, but they are still into the extra security in terms of passwords, let's say. So we have added the possibility of password policies or setting up password policies for the users directly through Nomadesk for users or companies who do not have an Active Directory connection or an Active Directory in place. Online file views is something very nifty as well, which means that when you send a file link to somebody else, to a non-Nomadesk user, you can determine whether, well, we have added a preview in the web browser as well. So prior to that functionality, it was needed to download the file and then view it on your local machine. That's not necessary anymore because we have added online file views. We support the most, let's say, the most common file types on the market. And that way you can have an even more convenient experience of Nomadesk. And in addition to that, there are the view-only file links as well. And that is when you create a file link, you can determine whether the recipient of the file has the only online file view, or he has the ability to download the file as well. Yeah, so you stay in control. This is very important in working with Nomadesk. That's keeping control over your professional data. And on top of that, to the link details or the link possibilities, it's the improved link tracking. So on the Google Maps interface, you can see from where a link has been clicked on. As you can, if you can see that at some point somebody clicks from, let's say, the UK, where you send it to your link, and not even a minute later, somebody else uses that same link in China. You can maybe start asking a bit of questions of what's going on with my files. Yeah, so this is very handy. And then some other functionalities are in there of tracking. That's when you that you can see some details on who has clicked the link, at what time, on what time has somebody clicked it, and so on and so on. So this is the thing about the new functionalities. Now, there's something else that we have done as well. We have been thinking about a new strategy of our software releases. From now on, we are going to issue software releases on a bi-weekly basis. So, for example, we are releasing, as of today, we are releasing 7.08. And let's say in 2 weeks, on March 6th, we will release 7.010. Why are we doing this? It's basically about being more up to speed in terms of bug fixes, minor improvements. Our synchronization can always be improved during those weeks that we have worked on it, and so on and so on. So it makes it more convenient and even better in terms of the evolution of our product to do it like this. They are not actually mandatory updates, but you can always do updates using the check for updates functionality in your client, or just download from the website directly. So the production release is going to be on March 13 of that version of 7.010. So that makes it that we make it available on the sandboxes of our brands on March 6th. Now, every quarter, the start of every quarter, we are going to do a mandatory release. We are going to communicate that as we have done in the past, using using social media, using our emailing system, and so on. So the next mandatory release that we will do is version 7.2, and it will be on your sandbox for our white label partners, that is, on Monday, April 3rd. The production release of that version is going to be on April 10th. So users will always have 2 weeks to upgrade, as it has been before, and at some point they will be, let's say, forced. Maybe it's not the right word, but they will be asked to update before they have the ability to log on. So our famous last words are: embrace cloud, go for the subscription-based business, and start building your portfolio of recurring revenue. Now, in terms of what's about to happen in the near future, next week we are doing a webinar on how to earn money with, and that should be with TH, with Nomadesk. So we are going to talk about how to create opportunities and see where you can add more business in your existing portfolio of customers or towards new customers. And then the week after, we are going to talk, or the weeks after that, we are going to talk about the Office 365 gameplay. So I'm going to talk about everything that has to do with how to pitch Nomadesk as an add-on to Office 365. And then our last episode, let's say, of this 4 weeks of webinars, we are going to talk about the user happiness. So I'm going to explain actual real-life examples of how Nomadesk is being used. So, thanks for joining me. I will now switch off recording and go for the questions and answers.